Welcome. In this video I'm going to show you how to generate syntax to make your life a little easier when you program M+ or Lavon. The first half of this web page shows you how to import data from other packages, and I have a video on that if you want to see it. So I'm going to go down to the second half of the page and we're going to work with the section that's on the syntax generator. You can look through these orienting instructions on your own. First thing we need to do is to go and select the R data file that works with the example. And in this case, I'm going to be generating syntax for the web example that runs throughout the web page. And I had created an R data file for it already to use some of the programs that are on the Programs tab. And I showed you one way of generating that R data file when I went through the video on importing data. So I'm just going to click on Choose File to go get that R data file. It turns out it's in the folder C drive RET, and I'm going to come down and there's the web example with data in the R format. So I'm going to click on that and open it, and then it shows me the variable names that are in the file, and this shows that I did in fact get the right file. I'm double checking the names that I wanted to, and at this point all I need to do is to click Generate Syntax. Now there's two forms of syntax that I can generate. One is syntax that has a lot of comments on it and that also gives you a lot of different options. So if I click Generate X, this is the M+ syntax here. The Lavon syntax is lower, as I'll show you in a little bit, below this. And this has a lot of comments that will help you make decisions and remember some programming. The other option is to generate the syntax without all the comments. And I'll do that and show you what that looks like. So you can see it's much more succinct. And it assumes you pretty much know where you're going and you don't need the help of all the comments. I can either make the edits that need to be made here in the window and then copy it to the clipboard and paste it into M+, or I can make it directly in M+. So to illustrate the latter, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to copy the clipboard. This is the R syntax for Lavon that I'll go over with you later. So I'm going to copy it to the clipboard, and then I'm going to go start M+. And then I'm going to hit Control V to paste it. So here's the M+ syntax. I can change the title to whatever I want to. Here's the data file, and I have to put in the file location and the file name because I didn't have that. So that was in RET, and it's in a file called web example m.txt, and that's set up in M+ format, that data file. I describe in my book how to set up the data file, and I also describe on other parts of the web page how to set that up. This lists the variable names that are in the data set that we had seen before. It grabbed those from the choose file that we did before. And I'm going to use all those variables except for the ID variable. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that because the ID isn't part of the analysis. Then all I need to do is to put my model in down here. So I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to create my model. I'm first going to do the measurement models. So I'll put in the latent variable lsreg as indicated by the two indicators SR1 and SR2. And then I put a semicolon. You need to end all your commands with subcommand lines with a semicolon. Then I'll have the latent variable for efficacy as indicated by EFF1 and EFF2 with a semicolon. Next, I'm going to regress both of these latent variables onto the treatment condition. So I'll take LSREG onto the treatment condition and put a semicolon there, and LEFF onto the treatment condition also. I'm using kind of a clunky programming strategy. I could be more efficient, but this is more intuitive. And then I regress the outcome onto the two latent variables. So I type in weight onto LSREG and LEFF, and then put the semicolon. And I'm all set to go for the basics of the program. If I wanted to add a mediation analysis, a formal mediation analysis, then I would add a model indirect command that's described in my book. And then I would go ahead and save this syntax. The default is to set it to mtext1.inp. I'll just use that default for lack of any other option. And then I come up here and I click the run. This is the M+ run in the output. I'm not going to go through any of that because that's not my purpose here. Okay, so that's M+. I'll go ahead and close that out. And then let's go down and take a look at the syntax I generated for Lavon. That's below it. And again, I can edit this elsewhere, ASCII file, or I can just edit it right here. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the latter, edit it right here. So the first thing I need to do is to put in the, point it to the right data file, just like I did in M+. So this is in RET, and web example R, because it's the R data file for it. And again, the tag for that is txt. So I want to make sure I use the right tag. Now, all the rest of the syntax is set up except I have to put the model in. So I'm going to delete this line and go ahead and insert the model. And I'll start with the measurement model and indicate a latent variable that I'll call LSREG is indicated by, that's the symbol that's used to reflect that, RS1 plus RS2. You don't need any semicolons after this. And then I'm going to do the efficacy one. The latent variable efficacy is indicated by EFF1 plus EFF2. Then I'm going to regress those two latent variables onto the treatment condition. So I'll have LSREG is regressed onto, that's the symbol we use for that, and it's going to be regressed onto the treatment condition. And in this case, I like to use, for reasons I mentioned on the syntax page, a label for the path coefficient for this. And so I'm using the label P1 multiplied by the treatment condition. And then I'm going to do the same thing for efficacy. I'm going to give it a different label. And on the syntax page, I discuss why I do that, use those labels. And then I'm going to regress the weight onto the two mediators, LSREG, and I'll put the P3, each time giving it a different label, plus P4 times LEFF. That's the program. Again, I can add commands to do a mediational analysis, and I show you those on the syntax page. But I'm all set to go here. So I'm going to come down here and copy this to the clipboard. Then I'm going to start R. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to paste those commands. It ran, and this is part of the output here from the Lavon run. There's the code that I put in earlier, and I'm all set to go. That's really it. So that should do it. Take care. Bye.